On today's Tackle Tuesday video, I'm going to give you guys my first impression of the new Team Catfish Rod and Reel. Their new gold reel and their redesigned Thunder Cat. And I will tell you this right away, I am impressed with this new rod. I really like what Team Catfish has going on here. And yes, I am part of the Team Catfish promotional staff. I think it was about a year ago they gave me an honorary position that I didn't turn down. And I'm not going to let that keep me from telling you my thoughts on this rod and reel. Now this is a medium heavy rod. To me, it feels like it's just a little bit more stiff than a medium heavy whisker seeker. When you're talking about a medium heavy rod, it will bend all the way to the handle. I do need to put this up against a medium heavy whisker seeker. I might try to do that someday, so stay tuned to my channel and make sure you're subscribed. I really don't say that too often, but I'll go ahead and say it on this video. I'd love to catch up to Dieter Milhorn or Catfish Dave someday, and all that takes is you guys subscribing to me. Now they did add a textured EVA foam grip to this. Most of my rods and reels have cork on them, and from what I've seen myself and from others, sometimes EVA foam grips can be hard to get out of a rod holder when you have a big fish on there. Cork is just a little bit easier. Now this does not squish down much, so maybe it'll be easier to get this out of a rod holder when there's a big fish. Now this does have a metal reel seat to hold the reel on. And I know I've said in the past that you really don't need a metal reel seat. However, in this case, it could give you a little bit more confidence because with the rod loaded all the way down, bending all the way to the handle, it puts more stress on the reel seat. A graphite reel seat may not break even in a situation like that on an inland catfish, but it doesn't hurt to have a little bit of extra security. Of course, it's got stainless steel eyes all through it, and the epoxy is already yellow. You guys remember me talking about the battle cats where the epoxy was yellowing as they aged. Well, this is already yellow, so it shouldn't get any more yellow than that. And it's got black accents. And being a white rod, this is easier to see at nighttime. See if I can bend this. You can see it's kind of bending all the way to the handle. I do like the gold accents on it as well. It's got that Team Catfish yellow gold going on with it. And something like this is meant to catch fishermen. It definitely caught me. Now, let's talk about the reel. Now, I do like these type of reels. I like the styling. This is kind of like the luge reels. This is kind of like a Catmax. It's my understanding that this reel did not come out of the same factory as a Catmax. So it's built by somebody different. And this gold version, they say, has upgraded internals. And I am not a professional when it comes to the insides of a bait caster. So I couldn't tell you if they're upgraded or not. And I really wouldn't want to take it apart, because if I take this thing apart, it's probably going to break on me. I am definitely not good at taking reels apart. But it is a solid reel. It has no play in it. And I've been casting and fishing with it over the past like 2 weeks, and I have yet to catch a fish with it. Been trying my best to catch the first catfish on this thing so I can have a catfish video after this video with this rod featured catching it. Eventually I'll get one. Now the one thing I don't like about this reel is the capacity. This thing has less capacity than a Komodo. It has less capacity than a Catmax. It has less capacity than the Catfish Pro reel. 118 yards of 20-pound monofilament. So the 30-pound monofilament that I've put on here is about 90 yards. So I don't have room for any kind of error when fighting a fish. If a big striper decides to take a run and keep running and running and running, I'm going to run out of line. Now there is one thing that helps with the lower amount of line in it. This is a very fast reel, 6.1 to 1 gear ratio. I could use this as a muskie reel, it's so fast. So that means if you have a run and they stop and you reel really quick, you pull in a lot more line than all the other reels that I have, other than my Komodos. My Komodos are really fast reels too. So that might make up for the lack of line capacity. And it does have a magnetic brake that I have all the way off. And it's been casting perfectly fine as is with it off or all the way down. Let me cast it once real quick with just the sinker. I did go full Team Catfish with this. We got an 8/0 Team Catfish double action circle hook, a Team Catfish barrel swivel, Team Catfish bead, Team Catfish sinker slide, and a Team Catfish sinker. 30-pound main line, 80-pound leader line. Let's see how far this goes. It's going to be hard to cast around this dolphin. About 75% across the channel here. That was a pretty good cast. That's kind of why I like these reels. They're easier to cast, especially with that magnetic brake. But there you go, my initial impression of the new Team Catfish rod and reel. Maybe I can get a thumbnail out of this. Somehow I get a thumbnail. I really don't know how this looks on the camera. Now, something I didn't mention earlier that I probably should have. A few years ago, I went to the Catfish Conference and got to see my first Team Catfish rod in person. And when I picked up that rod, my first initial thought was, this is a typical glass rod, like the Tangling with Catfish and other rods that were at the show. So I put it back down and I walked away. Doesn't mean it was a bad rod, just at the time I just thought, you know, it was just another fiberglass rod. This rod has changed my mind. I feel that this is a very well-built catfish rod, and I'd like to know what you guys think in the comments below. Have you been able to look at one of these rods or even buy one and test them out? I might try putting a Komodo on one of these just to see how it works out. Maybe this will become my new flathead rod. This would make a good kayak rod too. It is kind of lightweight. It's lighter weight than a Battle Cat. And I know there are kayak specific rods out there that are like 6 foot. This is 7.5 foot. And because it's medium heavy and it bends so much, the fish will be closer to the boat, to your kayak, than with a heavy rod. So it might be a good rod for kayak fishermen. I'm going to see if I can actually catch a fish here and post that as a separate video if I actually catch a fish. Now, as always, I want to thank you guys for taking your time out of your day to watch my video. I really, really appreciate it. And if you'd like to see me continue doing these Tackle Tuesday videos, please smash the thumbs up, the like button. The more likes I get, the more likely I will continue this Tackle Tuesday series. Now I'm going to grab the other fishing rod I have with me and see if I can catch some fish. Thank you again for watching.